The NASCAR Nationwide Series has moved north of the border to a very soggy and very foggy Montreal, Quebec. We're at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve as we're getting ready for qualifying for the 25th race of the 2009 Tour. And if this looks like deja vu, it should. Remember last year, we raced in the rain for the very first time, and it was a Canadian, Ron Fellows, who took the win. Sparks are flying on the track, and the sparks are flying off in the distance. And the rain is falling. Get your DVRs running, folks. For the first time ever in NASCAR history, one of the top 3 series will race on rain tires. Marcus Ambrose has checked out on this field by 8 seconds.
Marcus Ambrose, your leader, having trouble.
He goes too fast into pit lane, has to serve a pass-through penalty. Despite all this, Marcus is in 3rd.
Oh, it's over? They just said it's over.
Congratulations are going to go to Ron Fellows. He picks up his 4th career Nationwide Series win. And that was 48 of the scheduled 74 laps in last year's rain-shortened race. Let's find out what's happening down in pit lane. Jamie Little.
Well, we're about to make more history here as Cruz just got word moments ago they're going to qualify in the rain. This is the first time for a lot of people in this garage. Now, Ernie Cope, the crew chief for the 33, J.R. Fitzpatrick, he was told that under no circumstances would they qualify in the rain. He only purchased 1 set of wet tires. As you see, they had the slicks on the car. They just ordered 1 more set of these wet tires. What's the price tag? $1,800 US for these teams. They have 2 sets of wet tires. They put them on now, and they're going to go out and qualify, guys.
All right, Jamie, as we come topside with Andy Petrie and Rusty Wallace, the big problem is they only had limited practice time earlier today, Rusty.
Oh, you're exactly right. Limited practice session at all out there. I mean, it's only been in the wet conditions, too. Weather tomorrow is supposed to be dry tomorrow, so, hey, that's going to throw a kink in their setup, Andy.
Yeah, and I'm so glad to see NASCAR taking this opportunity to go out here and prove out some things. These rain tires, the windshield wipers, the blowers, all the things that they need to figure out whether they work good or not, and do a qualifying session in the rain. Now, this is kind of new for everybody, so it's a good chance, and you don't have opportunities to do this all the time, so glad to see NASCAR taking advantage of this.
And remember, we have a different format for qualifying in the NASCAR Nationwide Series on the road courses. Here's how it's going to set up today. It'll be group based on practice times. There are 5 groups of 6, 3 other groups of 5. You'll have 8-minute sessions for each group, and it's your best lap during that group that'll be your time of record. So when we come back, you won't miss a thing as we'll go qualifying in the rain. First cars are out on their warm-up lap, if you can call it that. It's Tony Raines as he takes 2 wheels off through one of the corners here at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. 14 total turns, and this first group of 6 will include Eric McClure, Tony Raines, Antonio Perez, Mark Green, Brian Keselowski, and Stanton Barrett.
Hey, these guys are really got to be careful out here right now, and you can tell the 34 car at Tony Raines is being pretty timid. They've already had the 24 car of Eric McClure spin trying to get up to speed, so it's awful wet out there right now. And Andy, they just got to build the rhythm and get their nerve up for running in this rain.
Yeah, and even though they did practice in the rain earlier today, it was nowhere near as wet as it is right now. You see these cars are running through a lot of water, and it is, Rusty, you're going to have to run conservative, very conservative this first couple of laps and just try to get a feel for what this is going to take to try to run fast. The worst thing you can do is overdrive the car right now.
Now, the first car that's going to take the green flag will be the 34 of Tony Raines. The clock will start when he gets back to the start-finish line, and then they'll have 8 minutes from that time.
Now, these guys have got a lot of pressure on them. They know they've got to lay down a fast lap, but they've got 8 minutes to get this done. And after they run this first lap, I expect a little bit of the water to be washed off this racetrack, and they'll start getting the rhythm, getting going, running a high line or lower line. They'll pick their way around this racetrack where they feel most comfortable.
Well, for Tony, he's had 217 starts in the Nationwide Series, but this is his first trip to Montreal, which means, in essence, this is his first time running in the rain.
Well, we're making history today, that's for sure. We raced in the rain last time, and Andy, now we're going to qualify in the rain today. I don't believe I've ever seen that happen in a Nationwide Series.
I think it's never happened, but it's going to be great to see just how these guys handle this rain and how they go about it. There's some of these guys like Antonio Perez that are real road racers, have probably run in the rain and maybe even qualified in the rain, but a lot of the guys have never seen this kind of condition.
That's Guadalajara, Mexico's Antonio Perez. If you were with us back at Watkins Glen, you know he made his debut back there, did a nice job. He qualified 15th. but ran in some trouble in the race, ended up finishing in 40th. He is the 2008 Corona Series champion south of the border.
You know, when you drive in the rain, I was able to do this out in Japan, I guess back in 1997, and you really want to run offline. You don't want to run where the cars generally run, but we just finished the Grand Am race here, and it rained that last session, and so there is no oily sections, no parts of the racetrack that is off limits. You can basically run anywhere in this track and pretty well get equal grip out there right now under these conditions.
Well, to run a fast lap, and that's all they're trying to do right now is run a fast lap in qualifying. They need to try to find some of the drier parts of the track to get grip. If they do that in racing conditions, they would end up chewing the tires off the car, and they'd have to come back in and get some. That's why they look for some of these wet parts of the track to cool the tires. But in qualifying, I think that the best thing they could do is try to find any dry spot. They're just looking for grip.
Yeah, they can look at the lines that the car in front of them laid down, just like following a street car, going down the highway. You can see the tire tracks in the wet part of the track. If they can run through those tire tracks, he gets a little loose getting into turn 13, exiting turn 14 right there, and have to see what NASCAR's ruling will be. I don't think they'll allow that, but they're going to run for 8 minutes now, and they'll get the best lap.
Well, of course, he shortcutted the course right there, so it shows him moving into the first position, but we'll have to check with NASCAR because he came across that turn 14 corner to see if that lap will be allowed. And we have been confirmed that it did not count, so throw that one out. He'll have to start all over.
Well, that's the good part of it about this style of qualifying is you do get more than one lap. You'll get 3 or maybe 4 laps of qualifying. See Tony Raines now. He is off the track.
Yeah, Tony has got to get it turned around, get back out.
Now one of the things that the guys behind, these groups behind this first group are going to learn is that you've got to keep that car out there, and you maybe want to tone it down just a little bit for the first few laps and get something on the board before you go out there and try to push it.
And you can bet some of the competitors are back there watching this going, hey, look, I've got to learn from what I'm watching the rest of these guys. They got to learn to stay on course, not get this thing off course. Even if they got to slow their lap down a little bit, they got to get qualified.
Now this is Stanton Barrett. Now you see he's kind of just all over the place there, getting in the corner. Just trying to feel the grip, try to feel where the car is. I'm amazed, really, that they're going as fast as they are. They're averaging about 77 miles an hour all the way around the racetrack in the rain, which is not too bad. I mean, when you consider how much water's on the track.
Well, to give you an idea of the difference, the record is 2007 when Patrick Carpentier went 95.5 miles an hour in just about 1 minute 32 seconds. So it gives you an idea how much the weather it will affect the lap times. But you're right, compared to where they were with that limited practice schedule, they are doing very well.
And this is so much better than just saying, okay, let's wash out qualifying and start them by points. At least you get an opportunity to go out here and see if you can beat the other competitors, which is what it's all about. A lot of unknowns. I mean, I see what there's a lot of unknowns out here that the competitors and NASCAR have got to kind of figure out. But what a great opportunity here to do it.
Now, Stanton Barrett is heading down into what we call the hairpin. This corner's a really tight corner right now. You watch them come in that corner.
Whoa.
They get down about 30 miles. Whoa.
In there a little hot.
Hold on, baby. Hold on. All right, now watch. You can exit this slow speed corner and pick it up in this straightaway. And they'll run about 170 miles per hour going down this back straightaway in to turn 13, we call it. And that's awful fast with these cars in the rain.
Stanton's best start this year was at the Lowe's. Qualified 11th there. Ended up finishing 25th in that race. Doesn't have the wiper going at this point, but obviously he's not affecting his ability to see the course. It's just stopping on the course.
You know, Marty, one thing I should add, that's about 170 some miles per hour in the dry. They're not going to run that fast in the wet going into 13, but this straightaway is about 3,100 feet long. It's one of the longest straightaways in all of NASCAR, so these cars flat get hauling down that back straightaway.
Okay, Antonio Perez has set an official lap now. That is the fastest of this session at 78.26 miles an hour.
And his time was about 2 minutes 4.6 seconds. That gives you an idea how much difference we're talking about. Whoops, we're shortcutting again. Now that one will not disqualify the run because he didn't shortcut the course. Came back on the same spot.
Well, it's still going to be a handicap because it slowed him down, but there's no penalty for running off the track there.
Now the rest of the teams going out are really going to hope this track starts drying out a little bit. If it stops raining, the speed's going to pick up dramatically. And the guys in the later sessions, that's what they're really hoping.
Checking in now with Mark Green, the 50-year-old from Owensboro, Kentucky, second on the charts. And this lap, if you look to the left of his number there, on the number 49, the left part of your screen, this lap would still keep him second.
But the thing is, if you look at the board, he is 4 seconds slower than Perez. So it's obvious that Perez has maybe a little experience with this kind of qualifying and running in the rain.
Tiptoes his way through the far end of the racetrack at turn 10.
I think we're going to see a wide variety of laps. I mean, it's going to be a big difference between first and last. I mean, just like you see, there's 4 seconds per lap between first and second right now. Going to be interesting. This is a very interesting qualifying session.
Well, as practice goes on, I mean, these guys were the slowest guys in the field grouped in this first session to go out. And as we go on throughout the evening here, these cars should get faster and faster.
And as he comes across, you see where he's currently second, and his fast lap is 128.67. That is in seconds, folks. That's the way NASCAR does it. So you basically have to know your math, and that would show that it would be 2 minutes and now 7.5 seconds.
Yeah, he picks it up almost a second that lap.
But still well behind the 2 minutes and 4 that was turned in by Antonio Perez. And you can see we've got about 48 seconds left here in this first session.
Yeah, that's a good opportunity now. See, he's already got a lap on the board. That's pretty decent. Go push it just a little bit more, see what you can get out of it. And you can see by looking at the left part of your screen on the bottom that he's third fastest tracking right now. So this lap doesn't look as fast as his last lap.
And he's about a half a second off, as you can see the plus side just to the right of where it says about 71 miles an hour. Now he's a full second behind his.
White flag will be coming out momentarily for this group.
The rain appears to be getting a little harder.
Yeah, it's not tapering off at all. There's no doubt about that. And, you know, generally these guys keep getting faster and faster when the tires warm up. But the tires aren't warming up right now because we're in the rain. They're staying cool the entire time. And as you can see in our camera screen, it looks like it's raining hard, just like you said, Marty.
A look at Eric McClure as he right now is fifth with his lap at lower right-hand portion of the screen, tiptoeing through there, getting a little tail happy. And this lap a little bit slower as it shows him sixth fastest.
These folks just don't have a lot of experience racing in the rain, and the last thing they want to do is go out here and get aggressive and get these things off course and tear these cars up and not be able to race tomorrow. At the least have to get a backup car, start tailback, and that's a mess. I guarantee you the crew chiefs are saying, just bring this baby home, be careful with it.
Well, especially when you're in that group of go or go homers, you definitely want to put a good time on, but you sure as heck don't want to ball it up.
Well, that's why they have an adjustable throttle. They're probably not using it all right now.
Hey, you know, man, everybody wants to drive hard. Too foggy, he says, so there's a car that's really not prepared real well inside the car for this condition.
Well, yeah, it doesn't take long. If you look inside that windshield, it doesn't take long for that moisture to really build up and fog up the inside of the windshield. It's going to be very difficult to keep that clear, even for these short amount of laps that they're running.
And that was Eric on the radio telling the team he could not see. And you can see how much slower he is going. 15 seconds and falling off even more, now 16.
This is not cool at all.
So this is going to be an opportunity for these teams to figure out what works and what doesn't. And obviously on Eric McClure's car, his defogging system's not working well.
Well, there's a lot of drivers that like qualifying in the rain. The good road racers, I mean, they've done it their whole life. This really doesn't bother them. In fact, they can almost smell blood sometimes. Hey, I'm going to go out there and get these cats because I'm good at this qualifying in the rain. And a lot of them are like, hey, get rid of this. I hate it. And this is one of the guys that doesn't like it, obviously.
Well, Stanton Barrett just came across the finish line. That closes out the first six. And the fastest, as he was back at Watkins Glen when he was in the early groups, is Antonio Perez from Mexico. And right there, you can see the positions all the way down through the sixth spot of Brian Keselowski. Stay with us. Group 2 coming up when we come back to Montreal.
Marcus Ambrose in search of his first career NASCAR win. Robbie Gordon behind him.
Robbie Gordon to the inside for the lead.
Ambrose goes back on him. Well, who is leading the race? When did the caution come out?
Can black flag me after the race? I'm staying here.
They are putting the black flag up for Robbie Gordon. And indeed, Gordon will hit Ambrose.
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Marcus Ambrose, your leader, having trouble. He goes too fast into pit lane, has to serve a pass-through penalty. Despite all this, Marcus is in third.
You know, we've dominated the race twice here in 2 years and haven't closed the deal, so I'm just bitterly disappointed. You know, I feel a little robbed. You know, we dominated today's race. What can you say?
And as we get ready for Group 2, you see Marcus Ambrose out in that group, and that's because he only got a couple of laps in. You talk about dominating last year's race. As you take a look at the group, he led the most laps in both of the Montreal races that we've held here, 37 and 27, and that's why he wants the victory, because he has been in the top three those 2 years, but that penalty really hurt him. And you talked to him about the fact why they got so few laps in the practice session.
Yeah, you see him going in this second group. You wouldn't expect Marcus Ambrose to be in that the second to the slowest group, but he didn't think they were going to run that much of practice right there, so they just went out, ran a few laps with their rain tires, kind of scuffed them in, was going to go back out and run some more, and then they called off practice because the track got, believe it or not, too dry. So they didn't get back out there, and this is the time they basically had to go by for the qualifying draw. But you're going to see something right here. I mean, this is one of the best road racers in the field, not the best, one of the best road racers in North America. He's making a flying lap. He's on a flying lap right now. He's on the clock.
Boy, that turn 10, that is so treacherous down there.
And you're going so fast on this back straightaway. You leave in the hairpin where Marcus is right now, and he's heading down this back straightaway. What I said earlier, in the dry conditions, about 170 miles per hour getting into turn 13. Right now, he's got to drive it down in this corner as deep as he possibly can.
You see, it's almost 160 miles an hour, even in the wet conditions.
And that's awful fast in wet conditions. I mean, like I said, about 170 in dry. So, I mean, he is really on it right now.
Well, he's 3 seconds quicker, as you can see by the clock, just to the right of the speed as he comes down to take his first official lap.
I'll tell you something else he told me is he did not want to see a wet condition run. He really felt like he needed dry conditions to be fast, but looking at this, I mean, man, he set down a pretty fast lap, 121 seconds now.
By 3.4 seconds, he bumps Antonio Perez to second. Looking a little further back, here is Alex Tagliani, hometown right here in Montreal. The fans will be cheering for Tags as he's in the 81, and right now he's third on the charts. But take a look to the left of his number. Oh, he was first until that move.
Yeah, maybe carried just a little too much speed into that corner.
What was your first clue?
He went down to the turn one just then. I said, you better throw out the parachute. This guy can't get this thing slowed down, and went flying off course there.
Dropped him to 6th, and already he's picking the speed back up to where he is second.
Well, the good thing, he's got 8 minutes here. This is an 8-minute session. He just needs to build his rhythm, because it's all about building trust in the car and building rhythm and getting a good lap laid down.
Well, he is qualified on pole for the Canadian Tire Series races, which is going to be held here tomorrow morning at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. While all this is going on, word is down in pit lane, Shannon Spate has caught up with Kyle Busch.
That's right, down here with Kyle Busch, who's currently talking to Max Pappas. Guys, he's got 27 wins in the Nationwide Series, but he's a rookie here today. So as you're watching these cars go by here in qualifying, Kyle, what do you expect when you get out there in your own car?
Slipping and sliding, just trying to hold on. That's about it. Just seeing what everybody's got here in turn one, just kind of judging here for everywhere else.
Any advice that you've been getting? I see you talking to Max. I saw you speaking to Colin Brown, both guys who have raced on road courses and in the rain before. Any advice that they've given you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to get feedback from everybody. I've talked to Ron Fellow, Jacques, Max, Colin, everybody. Just any feedback I can get different from everybody, then I can figure it out.
Well, this is Kyle Busch's first start here, but he has won on every other road course, so watch for this car to be fast today. Guys?
And he'll be coming up a little bit later. As you see the ticker coming across the top of your screen, those cars that you see in yellow, that means that is the group that is on track right now. I'll give you an idea. As there is the 47 heading down through turns 1 and 2. Victor Gonzalez Jr. in the 05. He is making a little personal history. Never realized this until we got the news release, but he was the first from Puerto Rico to ever attempt to qualify for a NASCAR Nationwide Series event. So, and you can see his windshield wiper is malfunctioning badly.
No, that's not good. That's one of the things that they need to learn how to do. I mean, these windshield wipers are very difficult to work at high speeds, and they Some of the teams have actually put airfoils on those windshield wipers to hold them down on the windshield. It looks like this one has gotten a little out of control now, and it's not very effective.
Well, when you're on the highway and running around the city in your regular car, you're running about 55 miles an hour on the highway, maybe 30 in the city. Everything's good. But you take these cars and get them about 150, 160 miles an hour. These windshield wipers go, "You want me to do what?" And they turn upside down and go crazy, like this one's doing.
A little further back. Oh, Kenny Wallace takes the detour. That's going to disqualify that lap. And he was on a good one there.
You got to stop.
Now you don't stop
Give it
there,
plenty of
though.
room. Take your time.
Yeah, he does not have to stop there. We'll have to let the team know that. Now down in turn 14, if you blow that corner, you do have to come to a full stop. That's right by the entrance to pit lane. But there, you can pass through as long as you give back the position in tomorrow's race.
Yeah, check out Kenny Wallace's paint scheme here. The Herminator. He's got all of his fans sponsoring this race car. They've all put up $20 a piece to put their name on his car, and they're all on there. You can't see them all from here, but they are there, and it's really a neat thing that Kenny's done with his fans, and he's really enjoying this. And Kenny told me that he came up with this paint scheme himself.
It looks really good. I mean, he's been talking about this for a long time. He loves coming up here. And he raised just close to $100,000, maybe a little bit over, to Ford to bring this car up here to Montreal.
There's over 5,000 names on that car, on the hood, on the deck lid, in various places. There's Mike Bliss driving for Joe Nemechek. You'll remember he drove the one car here not too long ago and parted ways with that Phoenix Racing team, but now Joe is giving him an opportunity to try to keep his points up by driving this car.
Bliss is 5th right now, 4th on this lap if he can keep it up, but 4 seconds off of Marcus Ambrose's pace set earlier in this second group.
Yeah, Mike Bliss had 167 starts so far in this nationwide series. He's had 3 poles and a couple wins. He's pretty doggone good in these cars right now. And Joe not normally drives his car, but I guess he put Bliss in this thing, thinking Bliss might get the job done a little better than he can. Who knows?
1 minute left on the clock here for Group 2, and you can see that the fog is rolling in as well as more rain on our camera lens.
Yeah, you can see Marcus Ambrose now trying to improve on his best lap. He is P1 at the moment, but now he's got a lot of fast groups and cars coming up behind him, so anything he can do to lower that time some more would be in his favor. And you can see he's just a couple of tenths off his fastest lap. He still has a chance to lower that time.
You know, one thing I've been looking at in this car, Andy, look how high the nose is. I mean, that baby, going in the corner, it sets down awful hard, then the nose lifts up on it.
Yeah, I talked to Marcus about his whole setup. He's talking about he's running a setup that's very soft, and he's running down on the springs like you see right here. But now they are able to loosen the shocks up. In other words, they can take the adjustments off and loosen that up. And I'm sure for this wet condition that they've done that. With the track dries off tomorrow, they run in the dry. I believe you'll see that car down a lot lower on the straightaways.
Well, he's going to miss his best lap by 0.2 of a second, but he still has a 4.2 second margin over second place right now, Antonio Perez from group number 1. Alex Tagliani is currently listed in 3rd with Mike Bliss 4th.
It's hard to tell whether that's a good lap or not. Nobody really knows. We'll know by the end of the session, obviously, but by being 4 seconds faster than second place, you got to feel pretty good about it.
Well, there's a lot of difference in the speed in this track, even when it's wet to wetter. This afternoon, when it was wet still, I mean, it was still raining. They ran at 1:13.88, which is much faster than what Marcus just run right now. But you can see how wet it is out there. And to my mind, that's extremely wet.
Yeah, 2 minutes, 0.5 seconds is the exact time. And here comes the 81 of Alex Tagliani. He is not able to improve. He stays in the number 3 position. We can tell you that Antonio Perez has locked in. He was one of the go or go homers, but there are only 2 that are going to go home. But Perez is the first to lock himself in to the starting field.
And he would have been one of the cars that would not have made the field had this race been, our qualifying session been rained out. So he's one of the winners in this session.
That's true. He and Brett Rowe would have been the 2 losers. Coming across the finish line with broken windshield wiper and all is Victor Gonzalez. Gonzalez 8th right now. Now this is one of the go or go home cars, so he is right now 2nd slowest of the group in the go or go home category.
I guess I'm a little surprised right now. I don't see a windshield wiper on Kenny's car unless he's turned it off. No, it looks like it's not even on there.
There's been a few cars that elect not to put a blade on there. I've seen some that just are going with the Rain-X.
Oh, he blew that corner again, Andy.
I think he's already taken the checker flag, so he's just going to come back around.
That corner too hard or something. Our front brakes, they lock up. We need to put more rear brake in.
Kenny, right now, you heard him talk about the brakes, and he's 9th overall out of the 12 that have taken times officially here at Montreal. Take a look at Group 2. You can see where they stack up. Marcus Ambrose on the point. Mike Bliss 3rd, all the way down to Morgan Shepherd in the 10th position. Group 3 when we come back. The beautiful sights of a sunny Montreal, and that's what we're hoping for tomorrow when we go racing here at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, named for the famous Formula One driver and native of Quebec. And that's what it looks like right now. That is Montreal off into the distance and through the fog, but we're going to be racing tomorrow, rain or shine. In 07, Kevin Harvick came from 30th starting position to win. Marcus Ambrose led the most laps, but that late race run-in with Robbie Gordon denied him the chance at victory. He wants it, and we'll find out tomorrow here at 2 Eastern. Stay with us. Got quite an international flavor in this week's race. 33 from the U.S. That includes, of course, Gonzalez from Puerto Rico, as that's a U.S. territory, and the 9 from Canada, 1 from Australia and Italy and Mexico. So the globe very well represented, and I would imagine it is Marcus Ambrose that would have the longest flight home from Montreal.
If you look at last year's top 3 results, the 2 from Canada, 1 from Australia.
That's the 31 of Darrell Haar. He is leading to the green flag in this 8-minute session for Group 3 that also has Justin Allgaier trying to forget what happened last week at dear old Bristol. DJ Kennington, who is going to be starting 8th in the Canadian Tire Series event tomorrow. Andy Lowley, who finished 2nd in GTS, as you see Haar going off course in the Grand Am race that was held just a little bit before this started. And J.R. Fitzpatrick, he is 5th in the running order for the Canadian Tire Series tomorrow. So that's some of the talent that we have out here. A lot of road course guys.
And we moved off of the 31, Darrell Haar, because that lap's not going to count, because it's going to take him a whole nother lap to get under a lap that's going to count for his qualifying time. And this is Justin Allgaier, and you're right, Marty. What a heartbreak it was last week to have such a good car. Got the lead at Bristol, and then Brad Keselowski and him got together and cut a tire, took him completely out of the race, and really a shame.
Yeah, and it went downhill from there at the end as well. While all this is going on, Jamie Little has caught up with Stanton Barrett.
Well, we have yet to hear from these guys to see what it's really all about. You were in the first group, Stanton. What was it like?
It was crazy. I mean, the driving in the rain's fun, but not when you have to lay it all in line for qualifying. And it was really frustrating because what I felt was my best lap, I know it was my best lap. The car wasn't going over on the blue flag, which is a pull over, but it's just so much water coming off. You can't see anything at that point, and you don't want to just run in there and you don't know if he's stopping or where he is in the road. You don't want to run him over even though you think you might clear him. So I just backed off that lap and then gathered it up and ran again. So it's fun to make history, but it'd rather not be in qualifying. I love driving in the rain, and I love that the fans get to see something today, which is really cool. Can you believe how many people are out here right now to watch this? So just excited that we're beat the 2 cars that we needed to already. I only had 1 lap of practice with the conditions earlier, and then it getting too dry for wet tires and stuff. So I was really nervous. And man, I'm not ready for this. So anyways, I love Montreal. I'm glad to be here.
All right, Stanton Barrett, 7th right now. Marty?
And he's right. He did lock himself in, as did Mark Green and Antonio Perez. So 3 of our go homers are locked in. Here's Justin Allgaier, the 23-year-old, and right now shown 10th on this lap.
Oh,
and he's
way too much curb right there.
He'll be the first to tell you road course racing is not his forte, and doing it in the rain, he doesn't even have the windshield wiper running, makes it even more adventurous.
Yeah, I talked to his crew chief, Chad Walter. He was saying that he took Justin to a road course about every month before they went to Watkins Glen, just to try to get him more experience on road courses.
Another, the Ontario contingent, the other Canada. If you're from Quebec, the French Canadians, they love you, they surround you. I mean, Patrick Carpentier and Jacques Villeneuve cannot get away from him. But J.R. Fitzpatrick, along with Ron Fellows and several of the others, out here as well. And Well, the fans would cheer for them too, but they'll cheer for Carpentier and, and Villeneuve first.
Well, this is Kevin Harvick's car. This is the car that Kevin usually drives. He's got JR in it this weekend. And JR is a pretty good driver up here. He finished 7th in the 2008 NASCAR Canadian Tire Series. As you said, a Canadian, really loves this place, likes going around here, loves the fans. But this is a new game for him right now, qualified in a nationwide car. Awful slick out there. I'll guarantee you he's going to feel his crew chief full of, hey, you should have seen what that was like when I run that, because it's exciting out there for him, he told me today.
This is Andy Lally. He ran the race just before this qualifying session and finished first in his group. No, finished second. I'm sorry, finished second in his group. But he's had some laps on the racetrack, and not in this kind of condition. It has gotten a lot wetter since that race has ended. But he is the fastest in this session, sixth fastest overall.
And he teamed up with Brendan Gaughan. Brendan, the first time ever here at Montreal. They finished second in GT class, 14th overall. Let's check in with Jamie Little.
Marcos Ambrose, P1 right now. His crew chief, Frank Kerr, came up and said that was the longest 8 minutes of my life. What was it like for you?
Well, mine too. We've got no backup car. We've basically just turned up with one car, so we didn't expect these conditions this weekend, and we didn't expect to qualify this afternoon either. But when it's like that, all you can do is just go out there and just put in some safe laps. I put in some good laps, not enough to probably get the pole, but the conditions are worsening here, so we might get lucky. Who knows?
Hey, you have to explain why you're in a backup car first of all. Listen to this, guys.
Well, we're not in the backup. We're in a primary car. We just don't have a backup because I crashed it at Watkins Glen doing my victory lane donuts. We pushed the rear end across a bit too much. We only had like 2 weeks to get ready for here, and we've only got 3 guys full time, so we decided just to focus on the primary car and just take our lumps. And I don't mind crashing it again when I'm in victory lane, but yeah, it's not the perfect world, that's for sure, especially in these conditions. These conditions are treacherous, and you know, it's only not for the faint-hearted out there. It's you got to be brave to try and put a lap down.
You guys didn't get much practice time. You said you didn't want to run in the wet. What do you think now? What was the car like compared to this morning?
Well, we've set up for completely dry conditions. We expected to qualify in the rain or not qualify at all. We expected to qualify in the dry and not qualify at all, so this was a surprise to us. Hopefully tomorrow is a bit of sun, and we'll start somewhere near the front to be able to take advantage of that.
Well, a lot of surprises down here. He sits first.
Well, and one of the biggest surprises, anybody who watched the Grand Am race earlier today knows that he never got in the car because of a problem that Carl Edwards had on the pace lap, and we'll show you that when Carl comes up a little bit later for his qualifying effort. But he did not get those extra laps that he was looking for in the Grand Am race. J.R. Fitzpatrick, you saw him getting it sideways a couple of times. He's currently 7th, but this lap would be good enough to put him 3rd if he can stay on it.
Yeah, we saw it would jump to 2nd there at one point, but he is very aggressive with the car, and you can see he's already made some damage to the front skirt area jumping over those curbs, which won't hurt you in this kind of condition, but he's pretty aggressive on these laps.
Yeah, I tell you, if you're at an oval track, though, where aerodynamics is very, very important, you wouldn't want that big chunk out of that air dam right there. That would affect the car, probably make it push the front end a little bit, but they could probably put a little tape on it or something here and get away with it.
Take a look now, as it is now 2nd, if he can hold on, but still over 3 seconds behind Marcos Ambrose.
Well, Marty, it's all about building this confidence. I mean, you see a lot of these guys overshooting, tires locking up.
Oh, he's sliding it through.
Yes, he got that car just a little too deep in the hairpin there.
He cost himself a lot of time by doing that. If he would just back, it's easy for me to say up here, but if he back off just a little bit earlier here and be a little more conservative, I think that lap time would go down.
Yeah, we're pretty good drivers up there. I mean,
it's easy up here.
Yeah,
not even raining. It's not even wet.
We were talking earlier. I said, haul that baby down in that corner. It'll stick. And the next car did that. He went off the course. I guess we shouldn't say that.
Well, that little bobble cost him. He's now dropped down to 5th on this lap. It would still improve him. His best lap was 7th so far. Whoa, here we go, skating again.
I can imagine, Rusty, it's hard to figure out exactly how much grip the tire has. You got to kind of feel, the car and tell how much the car will actually take. But you can see there, Fitzpatrick moves up to the actually the 4th spot now. Andy Lally is the fastest of this group. He just ran the 3rd fastest lap.
Jumped up to number 3, and Fitzpatrick is right behind him, as we mentioned, in the number 4 spot. But boy, it's making Marcos Ambrose's time even that much more impressive. It is still over 4 seconds. And Justin Allgaier is in the garage area. Jamie, what's going on?
Well, Justin Allgaier is finished with his qualifying lap. He said shifting was all right. The problem was right here. You guys have been talking about it. It's cleaning about this much of the windshield. So much for that motto right there of coming here and having a windshield wiper. And they just said, hey, guys, the problem is it's raining.
Well, and the guys who were here last year learned that they needed some kind of deflection to put some pressure on that windshield wiper.
You know, they do have to have, they need downforce on the windshield wipers. We saw earlier where the wipers are just flying off the windshield. You got to have that to keep these things down so you can actually see. But one thing I want to go back to and add on, guys, is that, hey, even though this is happening, these guys have got to live through this. This is for their starting position. And this track position is very, very important on a road course. So they got to suck it up out here. They got to get real nervy and drive these babies hard if they want to start up front. One thing you don't want to do is take it over the edge and spin this car out or wreck it.
That's DJ Kennington, 9th right now. He's going to start 8th tomorrow in the Canadian Tires Series race. So he's doing a bit of double duty, a little different version style.
You know, one thing I see out a lot of these cars is trying to give the cars too much throttle under acceleration off the car. As you see right now, Kennington's tracking 7th. But, you know, they got to treat these gas pedals, Andy, like there's an egg under the gas pedal. Real easy under acceleration, real easy on the brakes. Let the car roll to the corner. The experts at road race in the rain tell me that's the way you got to do it.
Michael Annett right now 9th, and that's where he's tracking on this lap. As you can see, he's about 6.5 seconds behind Marcus Ambrose's best time. This will definitely be his last lap as the checkered flag is out here at start-finish.
Got to be pretty exciting, Rusty, to get these cars down like this straightaway right here. They're going about 150, 56 miles an hour. That's got to be a thrill to go down in there in wet conditions and try to get this thing woe down for that right then left.
Well, you're exactly right. And you hit it on a little bit earlier, Andy, about building your confidence about how hard can I drive this car in the corner. And when it's raining, you drive down there and go, hey, it was okay. The next time I'm going to go a little deeper. Yeah, it was okay. The third time I go a little deeper. Oh, that's too much. I got to back it up a little bit. And that's one cool thing about this 8-minute qualifying session, that you can try things.
You can see the windshield wiper on Annette's car has a little wind deflector on it, just for what you were talking about, Rusty, to put a little downforce on it.
So everybody has completed this third group, and you can see where everybody shakes out. Andy Lally will be 3rd right now. J.R. Fitzpatrick 4th. Kennington 7th. Michael Annett in the top 10 and 9th. Daryl Haar and Justin Allgaier 14th and 15th. Group 4 next out on the track, and that will include Kyle Busch. And there he is. And last night he was in Chicago as he went on to take the Truck Series win, passing Todd Bodine and then pulling away. Boy, he has been very hot lately as he picked up another win. Will he get one here? His first time ever to Montreal. Let's see where he qualifies when we come back. That's the biosphere in the background, and that's Kyle Busch in the foreground, like he's been quite a bit lately. He has never started here at Montreal, but take a look at his road course career. 5 starts in the Nationwide Series with 1 win, 10 starts in the Cup Series with 2 wins, average finish 9.8, 13.6, nothing to sneeze at. And he is getting ready to take the green flag. There he comes down with 56 career wins in all 3 series. And boy, did they learn from last year's experience here at Montreal. Look at his dual wipers. You already saw it. I mean, this is a tricked out little deal. They've got blowers on the inside to keep them from fogging up. And then look at the brake lights in the back, the safety lights.
Yeah, we saw last year just how critical it was to be able to see the car in front of you. And that's really kind of a defensive move to keep somebody from running over you. They're not really brake lights. Yeah. They are really just a running light, so you can see the car in front of you when the conditions are real bad. And these spray, you can see how much spray is coming off the car. It's hard to see through that.
I don't know about you guys, but I just like watching the windshield wipers. Push the water up, push the water down. Got my rear lights going on. Looks like bat wings on that thing. It's like he's flying.
Well, right now, he is flying pretty good.
That car looks good. Got a good profile, laying nice and flat to the racetrack. Hard to tell if that's...
This is a great experience for everybody, even these veteran drivers. A lot of these drivers have never driven in wet conditions like this, so it's a learning experience.
Well, we talk about how important qualifying is, and this may be one of those exceptions because of the fact that we're in the rain, but there have been 24 road course races. 4 have been won from the pole, 9 from the front row, 14 from the top 5, and 18 from the top 10 out of 24.
I'll guarantee you one thing, Marty. When Kyle Busch gets to Atlanta next weekend for the nationwide race, this is going to be water cooler talk at the drivers' meeting. At the drivers' meeting, they're going to be coming up. Hey, how was that? What do you think? All us Cup guys will ask them this question because this is something that the Cup guys have not been able to do. These nationwide regulars, like you said, raced in the rain here last year. They're qualifying in the rain for the very first time this year, and it's something that it's pretty cool to put in their toolbox. Oh, there goes the windshield wiper.
One of them.
Blew off the car.
Well, that's why he's got 2 of them, and he's got the most important one still working, the one in front of him. But that's why this is so important, to do this, to figure out what works, what doesn't. You can't find out unless you test it, and that's the only way you can test it is to actually do it in the rain. He turned it off now. You can see he's turned the one windshield wiper off to maybe try to save it.
And guys, I know there's somebody at home saying, wait a minute, these guys are geniuses when it comes to car setup and everything else. Why are they having such a difficult time figuring out things like defogging windows and windshield wipers?
It's because they never do it. They anticipate what they think they need, and they get here, and sometimes they hit it right, and sometimes they don't. Obviously, Kyle didn't hit it right with that one windshield wiper that just blew off on the racetrack.
He is in the 5th spot, though, with his first lap.
And he'll have plenty of time. Still 5.5 minutes. This is Stephen Light right now on the clock at 12th, just to the left of his number there, on the number 29. You can see where he's tracking, about 7 seconds behind Marcus Ambrose's best lap. And Marcus may have hit the nail on the head. We are seeing little pools of water starting to build in some of these corners, which makes it even more difficult. And look at Carl Edwards taking a very interested look as to what is going on. Shannon, you there?
Yeah, that's right. He's checking it out and actually looking to see how much freestanding water is out there on the racetrack. So from what you see, what do you expect when you get out there?
Well, there's a lot of water. That's the first pictures of qualifying that I've seen, and that's a lot of water. So these guys are doing a great job. I mean, everybody's doing really well. It looks like Marcos laid down a really good lap for having that much water. In practice, I ran about that same speed, but there was a lot less moisture out there. So hopefully our City Financial Fusion runs well, and I'm excited just to get back out on the racetrack after this morning. That was the worst experience I've had in a race car in a long time. Just hoping to get out there and kind of redeem myself a little bit today.
Now, you've never won on a road course. You've won a championship. You've won on all different types of ovals. Do you feel that this is the type of track you have to win on to complete Carl Edwards' nationwide resume?
Yeah, it would mean a lot. And it's one of my goals this season is to win a road course race. And that's why I did the Grand Am race. And I just can't thank Kevin Doran and those guys enough. Marcus Ambrose helped me a ton, and hopefully I can apply what I learned through testing and practice for today and tomorrow. And it's pretty neat of Nationwide, of Joe Balish and the guys to run qualifying today. It looked like maybe it wasn't the best plan, but it's going pretty well so far, and it's good to see these fans sticking around.
Carl Edwards second in the point standings right now, guys.
And as you finished up, you saw Kyle Busch third, over 4 seconds behind Marcus Ambrose. And you heard Carl mentioned about the disaster that he had in the Grand Am race earlier today. As we continue to watch there, let's take you back. And this is what happened on the warm-up lap, never getting to the green. Now, the track was damp. He was on slicks. And the car just got away from him. And he hit that paint, that white line, and boy, he just lost traction.
It just had a drizzle right as they were getting this warm-up lap and the reconnaissance lap, I think they call it, but he was coming around there and caught the paint just on the curbing. You can see where he knocked the paint off the wall right there.
So, Andy, you think that's his most embarrassing moment in racing?
Yeah, I think
he said it was. I've done things like that before a long time ago. I won the race one time, and I was waving at the fans and holding the checkered flag and looked up and hit the wall head on.
Check out Stephen Light, third fastest now, as he is pulled ahead of Kyle Busch. And you can see he's on a lap that would put him second quick and only 1.1 seconds behind Marcus Ambrose.
Well, he's still got a lot of racetrack to go around. He's still losing time.
Look, don't spoil my excitement level here. I'm impressed at anybody getting close to Marcus.
He is second. He's tracking second so far, though. A pretty good lap.
You know, a lot of this is attitude, guys. If you go into this with a positive attitude, like I can do this, I want to do this, I like road racing, and the rain doesn't bother me, generally, you're going to run good. If you hate it going in, you'll probably run bad.
Colin Brown, meanwhile, 8th quickest on this lap. He's currently tracked at the 6th spot, and you can see his fast lap time there. His speed of about 77.5 miles an hour, and he finished 3rd in that truck race that Kyle won last night. Said he had a good run going, just did not have enough grunt to catch that 51 truck.
I like what he did back in Mexico in 2008, though. He grabbed the pole over there and really ran great and really surprised a lot of people. They went, Colin Brown, who? They didn't know who he was. Well, they know who he is right now. He's a good road racer.
Oh, Colin, as he starts early on this lap, his final lap, was tracking very well, drops a little bit to 3rd now. Here's the 29 of Stephen Light, currently 3rd, but slipping back on this run now to about 4 seconds. Boy, Marcus's time is looking better and better every group.
I think it is, and one thing that's happening now, even though we've had a steady rain since this qualifying session started, I think it's getting a little bit harder. You're seeing a little more water on the track, and just a little bit more water makes for a lot less grip.
Oh, you're exactly right. You hit the nail on the head with that one, Andy. I mean, just a little bit more water has slowed the lap times way down. And I really didn't know if going out earlier or going out later was going to be better, but we did know the less rain, the faster you go.
Well, and it's sort of like when we have sunny conditions in cloud cover. You know, sometimes you want to be last, sometimes you want to be first, and being in the early group may have paid big dividends. Jason Keller, the old wily veteran, tracking 5th on this lap, just 2.4 seconds off of Marcus Ambrose, currently 14th in the record book. As this is definitely by far his best lap. With only 10 seconds left, this will be his last opportunity to put a good number up on the board.
Yeah, he needs this lap. He needs to make sure he doesn't make any mistakes here and try to bring this one home. It would move him up a little bit in the standings. You can see he's got a little different kind of spoiler or airfoil on his windshield wiper.
Trying something different to try to keep it down. Looks like
it's working.
Yeah, it's on an angle instead of straight up and down. Trying to get some equal downforce on that blade, it looks like. This is his last corner. He's going into turn 10 and 11 right now, which we call the hairpin. This leads to the long back straightaway where these cars being close to 160 miles per hour, some of the good ones. See if we can stay here with Jason and see what kind of speed he builds coming down this straightaway towards turn 13. Look at a mile per hour climb up over 147 miles per hour. Still pretty good.
Slipping, though, back a little further now, dropping to 11th. So it's this back half of the course that's where he's been losing his time.
They gain a little time through the chicane right there.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be better than his prior lap where he was 14th. Tracking right now for the number 9 position as he heads for the stripe and the checkered flag.
You know, it's tough
that'll
out
move
there.
him up 5 spots.
Yeah, good job for
Here's
Keller.
Paul Menard
right now.
You know, Paul's a pretty good road racer too. He's had some experience with that, with go-karts, and matter of fact, his first Cup start was in a road course car at a road course race at Watkins Glen. The reason I know that is he was driving my car.
Well, I started to say he was driving for you, Andy. I mean, you should know all about Paul. He's looks like you said, a great road racer.
And Paul is tracking 2nd quick now.
And he's almost to the finish line here. He's got to make this chicane, this right-hand turn, then a left, and then back to the straightaway to the finish line. If he can nail these 2 corners.
He's so close.
See, he slips a little.
Watch. It looks like it may hold up. Nope, dropped him to 3rd. That one little bobble. Can he pick it up,
though? He's 13th until that lap, so it does move him up to 3rd place.
So it's still Ambrose. Antonio Perez is in 2nd. Remember, he was in the 1st group, and now Paul Menard in 3rd of the 24 cars that have taken times.
I tell you what, we're talking about these guys, Menard, Light, Kyle Busch, how fast they run. It's just amazing what Marcus Ambrose was able to do. He's almost 4 seconds faster than the rest of the field right now. That's how fast Marcus got around this racetrack.
So everybody is across the line officially here in this group number 4. And we'll show you where everybody shakes out. And there you see Menard 3rd, Stephen Light with a good run 4th, Kyle 5th, Colin Brown 7th, then Jason Keller 10th, Tony Ave 18th. Next group, oh boy, the Canadian fans here in Quebec will be cheering for that man. And then 32, it is Jacques Villeneuve coming out at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve on the very track named for his late father. And of course, he's an Indy 500 champion from 1995, the Kart Series champion in that very same year, and then moved over to Formula One to take the World Championship in 1997. Can you imagine why they love him so much here in Montreal? Back at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, you can see, look at the Canadian fans. They're standing up saying, yes, that's our boy, Jacques Villeneuve, out on track now as group number 5 is on course. Here's in the group, along with Jacques, Mike and Stephen Wallace, Eric Darnell, Brad Keselowski, and Brett Rowe. Now, Brett would have been the other driver, along with Antonio Perez, that if we wouldn't have gotten qualifying, those two would have been sent home. Let's update you as we keep looking here at Jacques. We can tell you Perez is definitely in. So is Paul Menard, Andy Lally, Mark Green, Stanton Barrett, Victor Gonzalez, Tony Ave. Right now, it's Darrell Haar and Morgan Shepherd that are not looking very strong on qualifying.
Man, that's a long tow home if you don't make it either. And that's going to be bad for Shepherd and Hard, just like you said, Marty. Shepherd really wanted to try to get in this race.
Jacques right now tracking 11th here on his first lap. And the fans that have stayed should be saluted because it has been a very damp and a very cool day as well. But these are the moments that those that live here in Quebec have been waiting for, to see this man, Patrick Carpentier. Listen to him. Listen to him.
The only negative thing about this is not a good time for him to go out and qualify. This track is getting wetter and wetter, and it's raining harder, and those speeds are definitely going to be down. But it doesn't slow those fans down. You saw them standing up there really excited for their man here.
They've waited all day for that. That's the first time they probably have seen him out there, and by golly, they're going to let him know they're behind him.
They probably said, "Have we seen him? Now we're going home." That's all they've been here all day, trying to see this car on the track. And he's out there qualifying for him. And it looks like he's tracking 9th, 10th quick right now. Still,
and that's not bad for a first lap. Not bad at all. But you're right. I mean, we're seeing more and more standing water.
Yeah, the track does seem like it's getting wetter and wetter and slow. You can see the lap times are a lot slower. That lap for Villeneuve was 9th quickest overall. But this is groups, as we're moving along here, that are the faster cars. And listen to that crowd. They love Jacques Villeneuve.
So at both ends of the track, down at 1 and 2, and then down at turn 10 at the hairpin, the grandstands go bonkers every time they see him come by. Let's move our coverage over to Eric Darnell, see how he is tracking right now. Currently 15th, but this lap...
not too good.
No.
Yeah, he's struggling a little bit on this lap.
And while he is slip-sliding all over the place, Jamie Little's caught up with Paul Menard.
Well, he sits 3rd right now, and he learned this track by video game. But on video games, they don't have rain, Paul. What was it like out there?
It was a lot of fun, honestly. You know, we got to qualify in the race, so I just got laid down 2 good laps, made sure we're in the show. Then I tried something different that last lap with my shifting, and I don't think it worked out any better, but made up a lot of time under braking. Learned a lot, had a lot of fun. It's going to be totally different tomorrow, so we'll see how it all stacks out.
Well, in 6 nationwide road courses, he has 3 top 10s. Not bad.
Not bad at all. Another guy who's not bad right now, you're looking at him. The 88 of Brad Keselowski. Do you know in the last 6 races, he has scored more points than everybody else, including Kyle Busch? And he's picked up 106 points in the last 2 races in the championship chase. But he's still going to need a lot of help.
Yeah, he'll need a lot of help. And this race right here probably won't be one that he'll get that. I mean, these road courses are a little different, but he has been on a tear on those oval track.
Jacques Villeneuve, as he is getting ready to complete another lap, currently 9th, but look how he's tracking. He's 3 seconds behind Ambrose. Does that tell you how good Ambrose is? But that would be good enough for 2nd if it holds up, and it looks like it will.
And you'll hear the crowd when he comes across the line. You should see.
He is now 2nd. Listen to him.
Look at him. They were waiting for that to show up on the podium there, or on the pylon.
Well, he doesn't race a whole lot right now, but boy, I tell you what, he hasn't lost anything at all. This racetrack and these nationwide cars ran awful good last year, and now again this year.
Hey, look here, Rusty. Your boy's on a good run.
Well, I watched Steven earlier. He blew the corner going down to the turn 1, slid off course, and just like that.
It's kind of like that.
Yeah,
He just keeps trying to get aggressive, and he's got another lap to try to get it back in course. Now, we talked earlier about how deep can you drive these cars. He drove it in too deep the first time, went off, got the second lap right, and said, okay, now I'm going to go a little farther, and messed that one up. So he's got another shot right now to try to catch back up.
Well, he had a good run here last year. Remember, he started 8th and ended up finishing 10th in that 48-lap rain-shortened event. Checking in now with Mike Wallace as he is tracking 18th on this lap, and that's exactly where he is in the running order.
Yeah, Danny O'Quinn was the driver of this 01 car up until last week. He drove it at Bristol, had a great run actually, and ran. Don't know what happened over there, but Danny O'Quinn's not in this car. They've put Mike Wallace in it now for the rest of the year.
And Mike's really happy to get the opportunity to get in this car. It's been tough for Mike lately, but he's going to be in this car the rest of the year, and he just wants to try to make the best of it. He's had some great runs in the Nationwide Series and is trying to prove that he can do it again, even in this underfunded car.
Hang on.
Gather it up.
Man, that was getting a little exciting.
Maybe didn't Watusi getting in that corner, didn't it? They would jump all over the place.
Well,
he's still doing the Watusi coming off.
Yeah, while he's skating. Oh, look out, squirrel. Oh, that could have been carnage.
Squirrel on the front straightaway.
Well, at least his vision's still pretty good. He saw that.
All right, while all this is going on, let's check in with Shannon.
Well, we're down here with Ron Fellows, who is the winner of this race last season. Speaking to some of the drivers in the garage, one of the things that they say when it's raining is that the track changes every single lap. How difficult is that for a driver to adjust your lines and your driving style?
Well, you've got to monitor, especially when there's a fair amount of standing water, which we've got right now, and the visibility gets tougher with the heavy water. You know, the straightaways are the toughest part because that's where most of the standing water is, and that's normally when you get a chance to relax. So it's a handful even in a straight line.
All right, we're going to take a look real quick at the car of Ron Fellows. This obviously does not say Ron Fellows, it says Bubbles. This is a nickname that the team has given to him, guys. Only 3 races with this 5 team. It shows you how well they bonded in such a short period of time that they're joking around with each other.
Well, I thought it might be because of all the fact that he's been running in the rain with this club now twice here in Montreal. Might just give him a bar of soap.
He's done good. Boy, last year he was incredible. The white flag is out right now for this group right here, so they've got to get this just right now if they want to try to get their time built up a little bit. You see Villeneuve getting to turn 10 right now, the hairpin. See if he can keep it down there.
And notice he takes the traditional rain line. You don't want to hit that apex, as you pointed out earlier, because that's where a lot of that water is beginning to pool. You take a wider turn. It actually is quicker.
Right now, it's hard to find any dry spots on the track to gain a little extra grip because there's so much water on it.
About the only thing they can gain right now, Andy, is nerve. Try to get the nerve up. You saw that car 161 miles per hour getting into turn 13. And
that's one of the faster speeds we've seen getting in that corner.
I think they could go faster if we had Miss Budweiser out there right now.
This will be the checkered flag for Jacques Villeneuve.
Here comes Jacques. Right now he's tracking second. So he stays in that position, but boy,
204.4.
still 3.2 seconds behind
right now,
Marcus Ambrose.
Second place.
Listen to the crowd. Boy, do they love Villeneuve, Patrick Carpentier.
Well, they were rewarded today by having a qualifying session that could have easily been just washed out. Got to hand it to NASCAR for doing everything to get this session in.
And it's still not over. We've still got 3 more groups to come. Does he know the checker flag's out? Because he's hustling pretty good.
Somebody needs to tell him. Don't wreck it now.
Yeah.
I think somebody did.
Eric Darnell is currently 17th, and this lap is not going to help him. So as he comes across, he'll be in that number 17 position. The one guy out on the track, I don't know if he's still out there, is Brett Rowe, because he is in the go or go home category.
He needs to beat one more car to get himself in this race, and that's Darrell Hardin, a 31.
Yeah, Brett is still on the racetrack.
It's
Looks
only
like he's getting into turn 13 now, Andy. Here he comes.
Here he comes, the green car.
Boy, he has got to pick it up because right now that would put Daryl Haar in if he cannot do it. Checkered flag comes up, and we'll take a look at the clock, and he does it. He gets in on his last lap. It will lock him in, and it'll keep Daryl Haar and Morgan Shepherd, the two on the outside, looking in. Brad Keselowski, an 11th place run so far out of the 30 cars that have taken a time. And as everybody's on the cool down lap, there is the stats with Villeneuve 2nd, Stevens 7th, on down through Brett Rowe with 23rd. So we mentioned about hydroplane racing. There you go. There's a version of it. Little League World Series concludes Sunday on ESPN and ABC. 11 a.m. for the third place game. 3 Eastern on ABC for the championship game. Presented by Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. Reduced sugar on ESPN and ABC Sunday. At Circuit, Gilles Villeneuve, as the man whose father this racetrack is named after, climbs out of the 32 Braun racing machine. Can Jacques Villeneuve give the Canadian fans here in Quebec what they want? A win? You'll find out. We'll have countdown starting at 2 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. It's race number 25 of the NASCAR Nationwide Series. And we'll get a chance to talk to Jacques in a few moments. Here's another of the Canadian contingent from Quebec. That is Jean-Francois Dumoulin. You guys want to try that with me?
No. You did a great job there,
Jean-Francois Dumoulin.
Very good. Very good. Chris Cook, Carl Edwards, Tom Hubert. And we hear word that Boris said maybe bumped to the next group. They are having a problem with that car. We'll find out for sure. There you can see he is from Trois-Rivières. That's in
Triple
Quebec.
Pond.
There you go. You're close. Good job.
He's got some pretty good road racing experience. So 3 class wins in the Grand Am Series, including he finished 2nd in the 24 Hours of Daytona. So he's a pretty good little road racer here.
You see, they're having a little problem here with Borisset's car at not wanting to fire, and I'm sure it's probably moisture related. Well, back as much as we've had.
While we watched that in the upper right, Jean-Francois also ran in the Grand Am race. Had just about as good a day as Carl Edwards. He finished next to last. Carl Edwards was last. Shannon, what's the latest on the 09?
Right now, they do not know, guys, but they're trying to dissect and figure out what is going on with the 09 car without opening the hood because, of course, they've already gone through tech. They don't want to make any changes. They are right now dropping back and planning on going into the next group. But you see Boris said right there, window net up. He just keeps turning the engine, just trying to get this thing started without them actually having to go underneath the car.
All right, well, we'll keep our eyes on that one.
Yeah, I wonder, sometimes these drivers just accidentally hit the kill switch on the steering wheel, or else maybe the ignition boxes got moisture in them. You can switch to number 2 ignition boxes. That might work.
But that's the problem, is so many things it can be, and you only have just a few minutes to diagnose.
And we have to point out, he is in the go or go home group in that 09 car, so he has got to get out on that racetrack.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at to see. That's critical. He's got to get that car started.
Well, Carl has already made more laps than he did earlier today, as it was a tough experience in the Grand Am race, and he's doing quite well right now. Currently 3rd. You see that lap, and on a lap right now that would put him 2nd. So while we watch this, Jamie Little's caught up with Jacques Villeneuve.
Well, one of the few guys in the field who've actually qualified in the rain, of course, in Formula One. How much different was it in this car, Jacques?
Oh, it's very different. It's very slippery. It's fun. It's you discover the track every time you go out because it's more or less wet. This morning the track was a lot drier and the car felt very different right now. But it probably will be dry in the race anyway.
Of course, he's one of the few having a great time out here. And actually, the team told him if he wins tomorrow, Marty, they're going to give him an oval race later in the season.
Ah, well, that would be great for Jacques, the 38-year-old, smiling broadly right now. And we just noticed something there. Carl catches up to slower traffic, and that can just ruin your rhythm for a good lap.
Well, that can kill it, but right now he's still tracking 2nd quick, so maybe he saw this car was able to dart to the inside, kind of surprise him and get him under braking, and that looks the case right now as he gets into the hairpin.
And he may catch another car because after the hairpin there's yet another one, so Carl's got a fast lap. That's great, but he is catching slower cars, which is going to hurt his efforts of trying to beat Marcus Ambrose's time that he's laid down.
Whoa, that's right where he had his crash in the Grand Am race, and he almost took it out again. 1.8 seconds off right now.
Keyword almost at that time.
Yeah. Still tracking. He's in there somewhere.
See how bad right there from that shot. You can just see how poor the vision is out there.
Well, we cannot see Montreal, and it's just across the river. And that's how dark it is getting and how much the fog has rolled in.
So you can see just how important those lights are now, so Carl can see that car that he's coming up on. Those rear tail lights. That's why they mandate that.
We're about 35 minutes away from sunset.
He goes to second on that lap right there.
And
just a little less than 2 seconds behind Marcus Ambrose. So that's a great lap for Carl Edwards.
So after that crash this morning in the Grand Am race, I think if I was his crew chief, I'd be saying, okay, Carl, great lap. Bring that baby in.
There is Montreal across the river, the St. Lawrence River. And,
where is it?
Yeah, it's right across. Trust me,
I'll take your word for it.
I know it's there. There's Carl on yet another run. And you're right, 1.9 seconds. That's the closest anyone has been to Marcus Ambrose. And remember now, we still have 2 more groups to come. Let's check back in with Jean-Francois Dumoulin. He is currently 15th. And this lap, he's tracking 13th.
He's getting a little better here, 11th.
This is the car we normally see Ken Butler in.
So even charging this corner.
Still amazes me this car is this heavy, over 3,400 pounds, can run in the rain and hold on to it. And these guys are doing a great job keeping these things under control. It's all about controlling that throttle, not getting too aggressive, Andy.
And let's give somebody else some credit here too. Goodyear has built a great tire, new tread design, a brand new rain tire for these cars, and it does look like it's performing exceptional here in this rain.
I talked to Patrick Carpentier a little bit earlier today, and I asked him flat out, I said, tell me what you think of the tire. He goes, oh, it's night and day difference between what they had to deal with last year and what they're dealing with now. He loves the tire. He says there's plenty of side grip. You can get forward bite. You just have to know how to feather that throttle.
And the tire's got a new build in. It's got a lot of carbon fiber in the tire, which drivers really like.
Yeah, you see Carl Edwards just breaking through that fog area right there, catching Jean-Francois Dumoulin. Is that how you say that?
You did good.
Okay.
And he is still tracking on another good lap. So Carl really trying to pick it up here.
Andy, that's a good job explaining that name. I mean, pronounce that name. I thought you were a true Southerner.
That's got the Southern accent to it.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
He's now down to 1.1 seconds in the difference.
That's a great lap right there. Especially, and this track has actually got more water on it than it had when Marcus Ambrose made his lap. And that's not to take anything away from Marcus because he's still on the pole and did a great job. But there's a lot of water on that track, and Carl Edwards doing a fantastic job right now to track second fastest.
You know, one cool thing he's got in his belt, though, is that he did have a lot of practice in that Grand Am car before he crashed it. And I really think getting up here, testing on this course in a different type of car actually helped him quite a bit.
He was telling us last night at dinner when we ran into him about the difference in the brakes. He said the Grand Am car, you can take it so much deeper, it's lighter, and it was the one thing he was worried about. But it has not been a problem making the adjustment back, as here is Jean-Francois at now tracking 7th. He's moved up to 11th.
Well, you see Carl is second, and he's not really just catching this car very fast, so you can tell he's doing a great job here. But here comes Carl looking inside Dumoulin. This is going to hurt Carl's lap, but he's got a great lap on the board so far. He's not.
Whoa. Got a little tail happy.
That's going to keep Edwards from being able to challenge Ambrose for this pole. Don't know if he had it in this lap or not, but this will definitely affect it.
Yeah, this could. He might get back to the start-finish line to have one more, but he's got to get around Jean-Francois.
I don't know if he knows he's there, but he's got the position.
And the problem is he was tracking 7th quick. Jean was, and when we saw Edwards behind him, it kind of shook him a little bit. Got out of the throttle.
That was a bad break for Dumoulin right there because he had a good lap going. So it actually hurts both drivers when you have to get together and race.
Well, we're keeping an eye on it here. Looking down on the starters platform, it looks like this is going to be it. The checker flag will be out, and he will not make it back, so he will not get a chance. Oh, and he actually cuts across.
So it just makes this one not count, but it didn't matter anyway.
It didn't matter anyway.
The checker flag is in the air for Carl Edwards.
But a great comeback for Carl after the disaster in the Grand Am race earlier today. He is second right now out of 34 drivers that have taken times, right behind Marcus Ambrose by about 1.2 seconds. It's actually 1.18 to be official. So a strong run for Carl.
Speaking of strong, we got a strong field coming up.
Still have a car or two out there on the track that have not taken the checkered flag.
You got Tommy Hubert still to take the checker flag. Here he comes.
Hubert in that go or go home group, and he is strong enough right now, even though he says here he is currently 25th. That would be good enough to lock him in.
Yeah, the 90 and 91 cars of Chris Cook and Tom Hubert have locked in.
Yeah, the two that are still outside are Darrell Haar and Morgan Shepherd. Well, when we get ready, the next group will be out, and that means it'll be our defending event winner, Ron Fellows, or as he affectionately is known now, Bubbles, here at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal. At Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, the son of the man that this track is named for is qualified number 3 of the 34 cars that have taken official times. And Jacques, 3.2 seconds behind our current pole sitter. Who's in second? Well, Carl Edwards. After a disastrous run in the Grand Am Series race earlier today, Carl bounces back literally to get within 1.18 seconds of that man right there, who is right now sitting on point. Marcus Ambrose at 2 minutes, 0.54 seconds, still on pole, still on track to remain king of the road in 2009 in NASCAR Nationwide Series action. More action coming up, but first let's talk about the Little League World Series. It concludes Sunday on ESPN and ABC. First at 11 a.m. Eastern on ESPN, it's the third place game. Then at 3 Eastern, join Brent Musburger and the gang on ABC for the championship game. The Little League World Series presented by Kellogg's Frosted Flakes, reduced sugar on ESPN and ABC Sunday. Back in Montreal, Group 7 just taking to the track. That is Ron Fellows, and even Ron slip sliding a little bit. Justin Marks, Brad Coleman, Brendan Gaughan, Jeffrey Earnhardt, and Boris Said has got his car, the 09 running, and he is out on track to qualify. And that is good news for Boris. That could be bad news for Morgan Shepherd and or Darrell Haar. Those are the two on the go or go home list that right now could be going home. This guy's not going anywhere except maybe to the top 2 rows.
Well, he's the king of the rain so far. He's won the only race that's been run in the rain. So that makes him the king till somebody beats him, right?
You know, watching him last year, Andy, he was just so smooth every single lap. His lap times are very consistent. Every time he came by, the car didn't look out of control or nothing last year. And right now, he's slipping the back of that car just a little bit, but nothing crazy and nothing dead sideways and out of control. Guy flat knows how to drive the rain.
Tracking 6th right now on his first time lap. You can see we have 6.5 minutes to go in this Group 7 run.
You're starting to see some tire tracks that stay a little bit, when I say dry, it's relatively speaking here. Track's very wet.
Oh, hang on.
Slick right there.
Yep.
But it does look like it has some spots in it that may have a little more grip now than we saw maybe 2 groups ago.
The problem is the drivers say, Andy, I heard you, but I can't see it from out this window. It's getting too foggy in this car. I mean, the vision has got to be terrible for these guys right now.
All right, right now he is tracking 3rd quickest on his very first lap. As we check in with Brad Coleman, and he's tracking 3rd.
Yeah, he's got the same windshield wipers that Kyle Busch had, his teammate.
There he goes, third place right now on his first lap.
Jumps into 3rd. 3.2 seconds behind, and by 2/100ths of a second quicker than Villeneuve. And Fellows just comes across the line. We can tell you he jumps into the number 3 spot by 0.2 of a second. So this is getting interesting late in the go here with 2 sessions, 2 groups remaining. Brad Coleman tracking 4th on this lap. Let's see if we can find Boris Said in the mix. Remember, Boris was having trouble getting the car fired. So far, Boris getting ready to complete his first time lap. And that would put him 11th, and that will be good enough to lock him in.
Yeah, that's what he needed to do on this first lap, is just put a conservative number on the board, make sure he's in the race. Then he can go out here and make some hard laps, try to move up.
Checking the clocks, we're seeing that Ron Fellows
got a car sitting here.
That's Brendan Gaughan. So Brendan, no damage to the car, it appears. So just got it a little sideways. Whoa, and problems for Ron Fellows. So he was on a run that would have matched his 3rd.
He's knocked a lot of the front end there, you see, Rusty, off the car in that mud.
Look at the mud.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. That's not going to be good for any of the other cars coming behind him.
Obviously, that lap will not count.
Andy, I think that's too much damage to try to start the race like that. I believe they'd have to put a new air dam in that car. And when you do that, NASCAR makes you go to the back of the field, and that was a costly mistake for Ron. He got a good qualifying run. He's third, but he's probably going to have to go to the back.
Here's Justin Marks. He's tracking 6th fastest so far. He already has a lap on the board. That's 6 quick.
Well, Justin's a class winner at the Rolex 24. I mean, he knows how to drive in the rain, knows how to run on the road courses, and doing a good job right now, as you said, tracking 6th on that lap.
Oh, hang on to it.
Boris said, currently 11th, solidly in the field, but now tracking 6th, 3.1 seconds behind our pole sitter, Marcus Ambrose. Where is he? There he is, coming into view. That's how thick the fog and the spray is getting here at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve.
That's Jeffrey Earnhardt. You see Boris said is catching up to as Boris comes through the chicane onto the front straightaway.
There's Jeffrey. And Jeffrey actually crashed in practice, did some damage to the car, but they were able to get it fixed.
Yeah, he dinged it up getting into turn 1. He told me that he overdrove it just a little bit in the wet, and the car basically just hydroplaned into that corner.
Whoa. Boris trying to clip the curb, and it almost pitched him sideways. Look at the standing water. We talked about the apex being, that's where it pools. There's a perfect example.
Yeah, you can see right there was a ton of water in that corner.
Jeffrey tracking down to 8th now. While we watch this run, Jamie Little's caught up with Carl Edwards.
Well, Carl and his group have been pretty happy. Second on the board right now. Carl, after what you went through earlier, that hard hit, I know you got checked out. What was it like getting back out here in these kind of conditions?
To be honest with you, that first lap was a little rough. That wreck was pretty bad, and I'm so glad we got out here to run a little bit more today, especially having a run like that for our City Financial Ford and Scott save a lot, everybody. And I was really upset that I didn't beat Marcos, but then I realized I kind of owe him one. He went through all this trouble to get me a ride in that Kevin Doran Stellara, and Marcos didn't even get to turn a lap in the race. So got to thank Aflac for being on board with that, and iRacing.com, AU Vineyards, and Subway. But these fans are great. I mean, we're just talking about 100 of them make more noise than most whole racetracks. So it's really cool to be here. And hopefully we can start second and be an honor to start next to Marcos in these conditions.
All right now he's on the front row. Marty?
All right, thanks for the update there, Jamie. And you heard, boy, Carl, glad to get a good run in. As you see Ron Fellows right now, still third with this run. Uh-oh, more issues for Boris said. I don't know if there's any damage. He's off to the side of the road.
The best thing is Boris has made a good lap here. He's 4th on the board. His car looks like it's stalled. Maybe a problem, that same kind of problem they had.
Uh-oh. You heard him. He said it blew up.
So that means he's locked in the field. The engine blew up. That means he's got to start tailback, though. He's got to change engines.
So now, if this holds up, 3rd place Fellows may go to the rear if they have to fix that front valance. And then Said is going to have to go back. So this could be very interesting, watching some of our best road course racers having to fight their way from the back of this 43-car field. Justin Marks, currently 7th. This lap nowhere near as good as the one that put him in that position.
See here, though, he's coming back a little bit. He's trying to beat 124.57 seconds. They put a caution out. You can see all the lights. That's for the 09 car that's sitting over there on the track.
Okay, the clock stops when we have a full course. So these guys will get one more opportunity once they get the track clear.
That's just too dangerous.
I'm being corrected because everyone did get the white flag. This was the last lap, so that the yellow is out. They will not restart. So what you have is what you get. But everybody that was in this group qualified for the race. The 2 that are still on the bubble, Darrell Haar, and we can tell you Morgan Shepherd has been sent home. There's still one more go or go homer to run. But Morgan Shepherd is on the trailer already. Here is the top 10 right now as it shakes out, with 40 cars that have taken times with 5 remaining. Stay with us. The final group. Can anybody bump Marcus Ambrose off the pole? The Little League World Series concludes Sunday. The first game at 11 a.m. Eastern on ESPN is the third place game. And then at 3 Eastern on ABC, it is the championship game. Who wins it? Find out. The Little League World Series presented by Kellogg's Frosted Flakes, Reduced Sugar on ESPN and ABC Sunday. Final group, and you're looking at Max Pappas, who has done very well here in qualifying in the past, although he almost made a liar out of me there. Here's the other guys in the group: Jason Leffler, Patrick Carpentier, Andrew Ranger, and Michael McDowell.
So this is it. This is showtime. Last group.
Max qualified second here at Montreal back in 2007 and last year in 2008. That gives you an idea how good he is. He finished third in 07, 20th last year because he got tangled up in that rain mess and ended up going out.
Now, these guys are the top 5 cars in the morning's practice, but it was, boy, look at that back wiggling around that car.
He's
trying to
hustling.
slow it down. He's going to have to go for a second lap now, maybe a third, to try to get this thing back in. But these are the top 5 cars I was about to say in this morning's practice. But the track was much drier this morning, and they ran about 7 seconds faster. Can't see nothing, he says. No vision, and that's one big problem right now, because up here in our TV booth here in Montreal, it's very hard to even see out of this booth right now. So you know the drivers have really got to be suffering out there.
Well, we are 10 minutes away from official sunset, and as you all know, this is a tape-delayed broadcast. He misses the corner there because I bet you can't see, quite honestly. And I mean, it is much darker than it normally would be at sunset because of all the heavy clouds, the fog, and everything else. I'm amazed that these guys are able to race at all.
Yeah, it's almost a little dangerous, you know, we try to overdrive the car, get the car up to speed. I mean, if you almost got to run a conservative lap right now if you can't see, and a lot of them are going to go for it because the problem they got now, these were the top 5 best. In their mind, they got a chance to grab the pole. They got a chance to run really, really good, and if they don't, it's really going to bug them, so they might be overdriving these cars a bit.
It's Andrew Ranger in the 11 car. He comes across the line.
And Andrew
And
currently ninth. And he is going to be starting third in tomorrow's Canadian Tire Series race. He is a very good runner in that series.
Look at that
That's
water.
a lot of standing water at the apex of that corner.
Yeah. You'd almost be much smarter to take it a little wider, I would think, you know? Just get away from it.
This might be some of the worst conditions on the track we've seen in the whole session. Boy, you see sparks flying out there, catching a little bit too much curving.
Well, I can tell you right now, as we watch all this, that I think I've got a pretty good idea of who is going to be the other car that is going to be sent home on the go or go home list. I'm checking Michael McDowell, and yes, we haven't seen him yet, but he did turn his first lap, and means that Darrell Haar will join Morgan Shepherd as they will head home back across the border to the south. Meanwhile, Andrew Ranger continues to try and pick it up, although he's 13th tracking on this lap. Currently qualified 9th. He's the best of this group so far. I think that the combination, as you talked about, Andy, is really catching up. Look, you can see the lights in the background of what everybody's turned on. And here's Patrick Carpentier, the other big favorite of the Montreal, Quebec citizenry here in attendance. And
Just can't see where I'm going, guys.
He's having problems with vision as well. I mean, the visibility is really coming down out there with the the darkness and the fog
I gotta come in.
moisture.
And he's saying he's got to come in. So he's currently 26th, and he is saying, I just can't see. Somebody's coming up behind him. I hope he can see him.
That looks like maybe Ranger.
Try another one.
He's going to try one more.
Well, you got a car coming.
Well, he's going so slow that Andrew Ranger is catching him really big time right now. He just has no visibility out there whatsoever. And under these conditions, guys, it is the right thing to pull the car off the track, not wreck it. This car is locked in the race. He will race tomorrow. He's not worried about missing it.
Here come the fans down in turn 2.
You know, if he had the visibility in the car, you know he can drive much faster than he's driving right now, Because you see Ranger, he doesn't seem to be having that problem in his car.
Ranger is not. Now, you got to remember, Ranger's had a lot of track time because of the Canadian Tire Series event, so he's been out there. He's 9th right now. Leffler's 22nd. Pappas is 31st. I mean, he qualified 2nd here the last 2 years.
Yeah, we saw the first lap that Max Pappas put up on the board was disqualified by NASCAR for running through a zone that he's not supposed to go through and shortcutting the course. But his second lap is now 31st. You can see they're really struggling out there right now.
Yeah, I mean, right now Carpentier is 42nd, and this lap he's tracking 45th. So I think he's not going to probably take another one. He's probably going to pull it in.
Now,
How about
Jason Leffler was 2nd quickest in practice, and this goes to show you how bad the conditions are right now. Jason's all the way down in 22nd at the moment. Tracking 33rd at the moment. This second lap, it's just getting worse and worse for him.
So again, we always talk about how sometimes it pays during good weather to have the late draw because of the sun going down. Here's a case where the sun going down has really hurt this last group simply because they can't see.
We heard Marcos Ambrose earlier saying, I hope the conditions just keep getting worse, and they look like they're getting worse, because if it does, maybe I can hold on for the pole, because he really thought he would lose it. But it doesn't look like Marcos is going to lose this pole. He's got a, he's #1 right now, and Leffler, to me, doesn't look like he's got a shot to get him.
Now, and they put the white flag out. So one more lap, and that lap will probably be disallowed. It wasn't any better because he was 32nd.
Look at that left front tire just sliding.
Not even turning.
Yeah.
Oh.
Just no way to stop the car there.
Jason?
Oh, look at that, guys.
The track is just shot right now.
Jason,
too much water.
Just bring it on home, buddy. That's all you need to do. You're going to start 22nd. You're going to be safe.
Only one car out of this group, and this was the fastest group, is in the top 10. That's Andrew Ranger, and he's in 9th place. So he did a great job of qualifying in very, very difficult conditions. Max Pappas did move up just a little bit, 28th on the next lap.
Well, I think it is a safe bet to let you know that Marcos Ambrose is going to win his second Nationwide Series pole, because time is running out. Max Pappas right now currently 28th, and he's tracking not much better as he is sliding through that corner.
Well, Max has got another shot to pick up some speed. This will be his last lap, but he got that one lap disallowed, and it looked like he was already up like 14th when it got disallowed. Now he's got his car back up to 28th, and one more time to go and see if he can pick it up.
I don't think he's going to get back to the start-finish line to get another lap. I mean, there's only 14 seconds left. The white flag has been displayed, so I think this is going to be it for him. So,
Andy, Goodyear's brought a really good tire, but I'm afraid this is just too much for the tire, these conditions, these cars.
Is very difficult, and it's like I said, it could have been the other way around. I mean, it could have slacked off from the rain, and this group could have had a better shot at it, but it turned out that it worked out great for Marcos Ambrose.
Marcus's last pole was back at Memphis in October of 2007. And his last 4 road course race finishes, he has been no lower than 3rd, including the win back at Watkins Glen just a couple of weeks ago. So the Roadmeister is going to be starting up front again. Hang on to it. Here we go.
Now.
Max.
Easy does it.
And listen to the fans. They're saying, thank you, Max.
Great on the show for them.
Great show. Thank you. And boy, these fans deserve it. I mean, they are soaked to the bone.
I'll guarantee you Max is speaking some high-powered Italian in that car right now.
Yeah.
And it's not, it needs some more pasta. It's like I'm a mad Max.
Well, Andrew Ranger, tip your hat to him, because he is going to start 9th in this race, the best of this final group by a long shot. Jason Leffler is next on that list at 22nd. And Michael McDowell is officially going to be in the race. He has locked himself in. Here he is in the number 96, as he is 32nd. So it will be Darrell Haar and Morgan Shepherd heading home as they fail to qualify. So there it is. It's official, and Shannon is with our pole sitter.
Well, a big sigh of relief for Marcos Ambrose, who was trying to stay busy down here, all the nerves. You said that you hoped the weather got a little bit worse, as qualifying went on. How much of an advantage was it for you to go out earlier?
Yeah, better for us, worse for everybody else. Just the way it worked out. Who would have known that we were going to qualify in the rain? But we didn't put any laps down in practice because we didn't want to damage our car. We didn't want to run in the rain if we could avoid it, and it worked in our favour. I've got to thank the whole crew here. We're really doing it on a shoestring. You know, we just brought one car up here and just trying to win the race. That's what we want to do, and we're in the perfect spot to start. We lost the pole to Harvick there at Watkins Glen by a couple of hundredths, so this feels like a nice reward for us for our hard work.
A little bit of redemption as well, because you've led the most laps both of these races here at Montreal, but we're not sure about what the weather's going to do tomorrow. If we race in the dry weather, how's the car going to be?
We've set up for the dry, so I think we've actually just judged it perfectly. If it is dry tomorrow, I think we've got a good car. If it rains again, we've got enough adjustability to get it back. So yeah, we're going to go for the win. We're only here to win the race. We're not here just to run laps or score points. We're here to try and win it, and we put ourselves in good position to do that.
All right, he starts from the pole, and you guys saw what happened in Watkins Glen when they were on fire and ready to get a win. They went to victory lane. Jamie?
Well, I guess you could say it's kind of like the agony of defeat, 42nd qualifying run. What was it like, Patrick, going out there last group?
Yeah, it was okay, but the windshield fogged up so bad I couldn't see a thing. I had to stop, so it was okay for about half a lap, and getting the green flag, just could see a little bit. Then half a lap later I couldn't see nothing. I tried to keep going, but I couldn't see where I was going, so I had to stop. It really fogged up. Something, I guess, on the windshield, whatever it was inside, I couldn't see nothing, so I just stopped.
Were you feeling safe at that moment?
Yeah, it was okay. I mean, at first when I went out, I was like, oh, that's not too bad. You know, we'll work it out, and I thought it was going to be okay, but when I started losing the sight in front of me, I couldn't do nothing. I was almost went off there a couple of times. I couldn't see where the corner was, so I stopped. There's no point.
Well, he'll have his work cut out for him, but he'll have the fans behind him, backing him, rooting him on from 42nd. Marty?
That's for sure, and salute to the fans, and as you see Boris said, getting a push back in. We also want to give a moment of salute to our crew. They are waterlogged from a very long day here at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Thank you guys and gals for all the great pictures and the audio and all the equipment working well in the rain. Take a look at the Group 8 results, and you can see just how difficult it was for everybody as Andrew Ranger, the best in the group, 9th. Everybody else 22nd or lower. We'll close it out from Montreal on a very soggy evening. Take a look at the grid as the sun continues to set, and it's getting dark here in Montreal. And of that group, probably the biggest surprise for me was Antonio Perez in that 86 car.
Yeah, because he went out in the first group. That was the slowest group of all of them, and turned in a great qualifying effort.
Oh yeah, you look at just look at this crowd right here. Stephen Light done a great job. Kyle Busch has never been here. It shows how good he is. Qualifies 12th for this race.
Back a little bit further, Jason Leffler a lot further back than he thought.
And Max Pappas, he was the fastest in practice and had the worst conditions to try to qualify in 28.
Michael McDowell, the last to make it in on the go or go home group, and boy, Patrick Carpentier going to be starting well back in this field, 42nd, and there is the tail end of the field with Eric McClure, Brian Keselowski, and Tony Ave. The two that went home, as we mentioned, Morgan Shepherd and Darrell Haar. What about tomorrow?
Well, tomorrow, hopefully, the weather's going to be a lot better than it was today. But this was a great experiment that NASCAR put on today. We got a qualifying session in, and a lot of people learned a lot.
Yeah, they did learn a lot. There's no doubt about that, Andy. But tomorrow, the weather's supposed to be pretty good. A lot of these teams have got their dry setup in the car. They feel comfortable. They're ready to go. Let's just hope we can get this thing in without the rain, because it makes for a long one when it does rain.
Don't forget to tune in tomorrow when these boys hit the road again and race to the checker. The NASCAR Nationwide Series at Montreal starts at 2 Eastern on ESPN2. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Congratulations once again to Marcus Ambrose. For our entire ESPN crew, for Rusty, Andy, Dave, Jamie, Shannon, I'm Marty Reed. Till we meet again.